Thousands of simmers walked into FSWeekend 2026 expecting cool new hardware. But I don't think anyone expected WinControl to drop a true-to-scale overhead panel for a price that completely flips the flight sim market upside down. And somehow, that wasn't even the only thing that made this booth feel huge. I flew from Toronto to Amsterdam and back just for this weekend. I came home absolutely wrecked from jet lag, but I knew almost immediately that this had to be my first video. Because WinControl didn't just show up with products. They came in with the biggest booth at the show. They made bold statements all weekend. And they laid out a roadmap that made it feel like something much bigger was happening in the flight sim. Because of that, I'm splitting my FS Weekend coverage into two parts. In the next video, I'll show you the wider event. That includes Thursday, before the show even started, where I got to fly in a real DA40 and did something I never expected to do. But today, this first video is dedicated entirely to WinControl. I was at this booth for all 3 days, Friday for setup, and then Saturday and Sunday as part of their Airbus crew. First off, a real massive thank you to WinControl. It was a real honor to be there with them, and huge thanks to everyone who came by to say hi. My job was helping showcase the new tiller, the Cyber Taurus rudder pedals, and the new radio and transponder panels. And honestly, that made the whole experience so much better. I got to watch people jump into the rig and react to it in real time. That is always the ultimate test at a show like this. Not a product photo, not a spec sheet. What happens when real simmers actually put their hands on it? The metal handle on the tiller instantly caught people off guard. It just feels serious. And for the Airbus simmers, those synchronizable Cyber Taurus rudder pedals were a massive hit, especially if you're building a dual cockpit setup. It just pulled people in, and you could really see the attendees connecting with the hardware as soon as they sat down. But they weren't just showing the airliner gear. WinControl brought the URSA MINOR combat throttle line starting at about $155. They showed the Viper Ace throttle grip 2 at $244 with improved knob realism and vibration. WinControl also brought a $30 desk mount expansion system. It finally gives you a clean way to mount an MCDU right next to your throttle. It sounds small, but if you've struggled with that in your setup, you know exactly how big of a deal that is. But the real heavyweight at the booth was Cyber Taurus. WinControl is pushing hard into force feedback with a full ecosystem. Joystick bases, rudder pedals, a mix of belt drive and direct drive technology. They even announced an upcoming Airbus grip, although it wasn't on a show floor just yet. And then there's the Boeing Yoke, not just a 3D render. I actually got to see and try out the newly updated prototype of their upcoming Boeing Yoke. This is a massive step up from what they've showed at FS Expo and FS Weekend last year. And it feels a lot closer to the real thing. It is a full metal replica, and the moment you touch it, you feel the quality. But the craziest part? They are targeting a price range between $400 and $600. For a full metal, full force feedback replica, that is insane. This whole lineup feels ambitious, and that's all backed up by how clean and polished their new CMAP Pro version 2 software looks. And then, Saturday happened. WinControl dropped an Overhead 32 SOP panel, a true-to-scale overhead for Airbus. Normally, full-size overheads live in a completely different, almost untouchable price bracket. We're talking thousands of dollars, but when WinControl announced this one for $349.95, it landed like a bomb. It immediately changed the mood on the show floor. People were paying attention. This product matters so much because it completely changes the conversation. It means average simmers can finally step into a real cockpit-style setup without committing to an enormous, expensive build. The first prototype is going to be shown at Flight Sim Expo this June, so Minneapolis just got a lot more interesting. Behind the scenes, WinControl is talking about the deeper integration, better support, and building for scale. They're even opening a new factory this summer. You could feel that momentum on Friday night at the Captain's Dinner when they took home the Innovation Award and Outstanding Hardware Award. They came to FS Weekend with a clear message: more realism, more complete ecosystems, more serious hardware. But as crazy as this booth was, it was only my Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss part 2. I'm taking you inside that real DA40 flight from Thursday where I did something I'd never thought I'd do, and I'll show you the rest of the amazing atmosphere at the Aviodrome. See you in the next one.